The briefing room was small, quiet, and cold. Captain Cal Draven stood alone, staring at the hologram floating above the table. It showed a slowly spinning research station, labeled Elara 7, located in the dead zone of the Valderan Expanse. Unmanned. Decommissioned. No activity for over 12 years, the AI voice explained. Then why is it sending signals now? Kale asked aloud. No answer came. A second image replaced the first, a blurry scan of an object near Elara 7. It looked like a ship, but its shape was unclear. It shimmered and shifted, like it didn't want to be seen. The orders were simple. Investigate Elara 7. Recover any active data cores. Destroy all foreign or unregistered tech. Do not engage. Do not report. In other words, a ghost hunt. Kale hated these kinds of missions. He left the briefing room and headed to the Aegis Drift. His recon-class ship docked at the edge of Relay Station Vexor. The crew was already on board. They'd seen the mission file. Another cleanup job, said Drex Hollow, the ship's engineer. His voice was dry, like the desert world he was born on. Dead station. Weird scan. Probably rebels poking around. Kale didn't answer. He strapped into the command chair and looked around at his crew. Saren Vire, calm and focused at the navigation console. Toran Malik, sharp and always suspicious, running diagnostics. Drex sat near the reactor readout, checking power levels. Kale cleared his throat. Set course for Elara 7. No shortcuts. Full scan range. Keep the comms quiet. The ship slipped away from the station. Stars stretched into thin lines as they entered hyperwarp. The journey to the Valderan Expanse would take 3 hours. No one spoke much. When they dropped out of warp, the silence hit harder than Kel expected. Welcome to nowhere, Toran muttered. Elara 7 hung in space like a tomb. Its surface was scratched and scorched, with faint lights blinking along its edges. But the real problem wasn't the station. It was the object floating near it. Saren gasped. What is that? At first, Kale thought it was a shadow. Then it moved. Slowly, smoothly. It glowed faintly blue, like light trapped in water. It wasn't on the radar. It wasn't giving off heat. It's not a ship, Drex said. Not like ours. No engines. No signal. Kale zoomed in. The object drifted like it was alive, but not in a way he understood. It had shape, but the shape kept shifting, like it didn't want to be known. That's no ship we know, Toran whispered. It's moving like a ghost. Kale didn't respond. He kept staring. The thing made no sound, but he could feel it, as if it knew they were watching. Power systems are flickering, Drex said. We're losing stability. Keep us steady, Kale ordered. We're not leaving yet. The Aegis Drift slowly approached Elara 7. The strange object continued to drift beside it, silent and strange. Kale felt a chill run through him, even inside the sealed cockpit. This mission was no routine scan. Something was waiting out here, something the Empire didn't want them to find. Elara 7 grew larger in the front view. Its dark metal surface was covered in dust, scratches, and signs of past damage. Long docking arms hung motionless. Most of the lights were off. The station looked abandoned, but somehow not empty. Inside the Aegis Drift, the mood had changed. The crew was tense, quiet. Bringing us into docking range, said Sarenvire, her voice low. Any change in that thing? Kale asked. Saren checked the scans, still drifting near the station. No signal, no energy spike. It's just there. I don't like this, muttered Toran Malik from the comms console. It's too quiet. Suddenly, the lights on the ship dimmed. A deep hum echoed through the floor. Screens flickered. Systems began to fail, one after another. Losing main power, shouted Drex Hollow. Engines are fine, but guidance is offline. Comms are dropping too. Switch to manual controls, Kale said calmly. though his pulse was racing. "Keep us steady." He looked at the strange object again. It hadn't moved, but something about it was wrong. It was like staring at a shadow that was staring back. Then, without warning, Kel saw something. Not outside, not on the screen, but inside his mind. He stood in a field of silver grass, a red sky above, twin moons shining. Wind moved softly. He felt at peace, but he had never seen this place before. Then, just as quickly, it was gone. He blinked hard. Sweat dripped down his temple. "Did you see that?" he asked, eyes still wide. "See what?" Drex looked at him. "Nothing," Kale lied. The Aegis drift floated closer to Elara 7. Without working docking clamps, they had to line up perfectly to the manual port. It was risky, but the only choice. "Docking complete," Saren said. "Pressure locks sealed. We can board." Kale stood. "Grab your kits. We move in pairs. No one goes alone." They suited up. Simple recon gear, flashlights, backup oxygen, and short-range comms. They passed through the airlock with a sharp hiss. The inside of Elara 7 was freezing. Lights flickered overhead. Dust floated in the air like ash. The corridors were quiet, but the silence felt heavy. Kale led the way with Saren beside him. Drex and Torin followed behind, watching their sides. Old posters still hung on the walls, reminders of when Elara 7 was alive. Messages like "Observe," "Record," "Advance the Empire." But now, everything looked dead. "Power grid is running on emergency backup," Drex said. "We might be able to reboot the main systems from the control room." They'd reached the main hall, a large circular room with shattered glass panels and hanging wires. A massive screen at the center showed flickering data. Kale walked up to it. "Something's running," he said. "It's not much, but the station isn't completely dead." Torin checked his wrist device. "There's a weak signal coming from the lower levels. Looks like some kind of data core still active." "That's our target," Kale said. "But we move slow. This place isn't stable." Just then, the lights cut out completely. Total darkness. Then, click, flashlights turned on. Kel's heart thumped in his ears. "I've got movement," Saren said, looking at her handheld scanner. "Where?" Torin asked. She paused. "Behind the walls," she said. Everyone froze. Kale turned toward the corridor. The light from his torch caught a reflection. Something metallic. Just for a second. Then it was gone. He stepped back. "We finish the scan, copy the core, and we leave." As they moved deeper into Elara 7, Kale felt it again. A pressure in his head. A presence, like something watching from just beyond the edge of light. This mission was not just about a lost station. Something else had woken up here, and it was waiting. The hallway leading to the lower levels of Elara 7 was narrow and dark. Each step echoed through the old metal walls. Dust hung in the air, stirred by every movement. The crew moved slowly, flashlights cutting through the shadows. "Signals getting stronger," said Torin Malik, holding a small scanner. "The core is just 2 levels down." Captain Cal Draven nodded. "Let's keep moving." Eyes sharp. They passed through another hatch. This section of the station looked different. The walls were smoother. The lights, though dim, flickered with a strange blue glow. The air felt colder here. "This doesn't match the rest of the station's design," said Sarenvire. "Looks like it was rebuilt," added Drexhollow. "But not by us. The metal's different, older." Kale ran his hand along the wall. It was warm, just slightly, but the rest of the station was freezing. It didn't make sense. They reached a round chamber with a single terminal still active in the center. A low hum filled the room. Torin stepped forward and connected his device. "There's a live data feed, encrypted. Can you crack it?" Kale asked. "Give me a minute." The others stood back, watching the shadows. Saren turned to Kale. "Sir, what do you think this is?" "I don't know yet, but this wasn't abandoned. Someone, or something, kept this part running." The screen on Torin's device blinked. He frowned. "Got it. Pulling logs now." The terminal lit up. A recording started to play, just audio. The voice was shaky, rushed, and scared. "This is research-led Kellen Var. We were wrong. It's not a weapon. It's a signal. It's a message encoded in light. We tried to contain it, but it's alive in some way. It speaks in visions and thoughts. The Empire doesn't want to understand it. They'd want to erase it. We called it Project Silence, but it remembers everything, even us." Then the recording ended. No one spoke. Kale finally broke the silence. Project Silence. The Empire knew about this years ago. Drex looked at him. "They've been here before." "And they covered it up," Kale said. Suddenly, a deep vibration shook the floor. The lights pulsed. Once, twice. Then Drex collapsed. Kale rushed to him. "Drex, talk to me." Drex's eyes were wide. He stared at the ceiling, unmoving. Then he spoke in a whisper. "I saw stars falling, cities burning in silence. A voice, not a voice. Like memory, not mine." Kale looked at Saren. "Help him up. We're leaving." But the chamber pulsed again. Another wave of that deep, humming energy rolled through them. This time, Kale felt it too. A flash, his mind filled with a new vision. An endless hallway of mirrors. Each mirror showed a different version of himself. Some wearing different uniforms. Some not human at all. It ended as fast as it came. Kale caught his breath. "What is this thing doing to us?" he asked quietly. Torin was pale. "It's the same frequency that came from the Veilform." Saren turned slowly. "What if the object isn't just watching us? What if it's reaching out?" Kale looked back at the terminal. One last line of data blinked on the screen. Signal origin, unknown. Age, pre-imperial. Memory transfer confirmed. He stared at the words. "It's not a ship. It's something older. Maybe alive. And it remembers." A long silence followed. Kale stood tall. "We take the data, get back to the drift, and report nothing to command until I say so." Torin frowned. "That's against protocol." Kale turned to him. "So is sending us here without a warning." The lights flickered one more time. The Veilform was closer now. Kale could feel it. And for the first time, he wasn't sure if it was the enemy or the key to something far bigger. Back aboard the Aegis Drift, the crew was quiet. Captain Cal Draven stood in the center of the command deck, reading the message that had just come through on the secure line. The others waited for him to speak. He didn't. Not at first. Saren Vire, standing at navigation, finally asked, "What did command say?" Kale looked up. His face was hard. "Direct orders. We are to destroy Ilara 7 immediately, and any non-imperial technology we found." Torin Malik blinked. "That's it. No follow-up. No debriefing." Kale shook his head. "They don't want a report. They want a cover-up." Drex Hollow sat at the systems console, still pale from what happened in the station. "They know what the Veilform is, or at least they know it's not ours." Saren crossed her arms. "We can't destroy it. We haven't even understood what it is. The signal core showed us pieces, glimpses of something ancient." Kale nodded. "That's why the Empire wants it gone." Torin stood up. "You're not thinking of disobeying a direct order, are you, Captain?" Kale looked him in the eye. "I'm thinking about the truth. We were sent here to erase something we didn't even know existed. That makes no sense, unless it's something important." Torin's jaw tightened. "We're soldiers, not historians." "No," Kale said. "We're more than that. We're witnesses now. A long silence followed. Outside the ship, the Veilform hovered close to Elara 7. It didn't move like a machine. It didn't move like a ship. It drifted gently, like it was waiting. Kale turned to Drex. "Can you track the energy pulses it gives off?" Drex nodded slowly. "I already started. It's repeating in cycles, like a pattern, like a message." Kale took a deep breath. "I want to get closer. Safely. We'll take the drone pod and run a deep scan. No weapons, just eyes and data." Torin stepped forward. "If you go down this path, you're turning your back on command. You know that." "I know," Kale said. "And if the Empire is afraid of this thing, I want to know why." Saren looked at him. "I'm with you, Captain." Drex raised a hand. "Me too." Torin stared at them all, then shook his head. "You're making a mistake." "Noted," Kale replied. "You can stay here. No one's forcing you." Kale and Saren suited up. They loaded the drone pod, a small, fast shuttle with advanced scanning tools, and undocked from the Aegis drift. As they neared the Veilform, the lights inside the pod dimmed. Instruments flickered, but held. The closer they got, the clearer the shape became. It was not solid. It shimmered like it was made of light and smoke. Lines and shapes formed and disappeared constantly. It had no engines, no weapons, just presence. Then it pulsed again. A wave of energy hit them, not strong, not harmful, but familiar. Kale closed his eyes. Another vision. This time he saw a city made of crystal, floating in space. People walked without fear. Ships moved without engines. Then came the collapse. Fire, silence, and darkness. Kale gasped and opened his eyes. "Saren?" "I saw it too," she whispered. "I think it's showing us its history." "Not just showing," Kale said. "Giving it to us. A transfer. A warning." They returned to the Aegis drift with the scan data. Back on the ship, Torin stood waiting. Command sent another message. "An Imperial destroyer is on the way. ETA, 25 hours. Their orders are clear. Wipe the station. And us if needed." Kale looked around at his crew. "Then we have one day to figure out what this thing really is, and how to stop the Empire from burying it forever." No one argued now. They had seen too much. The Aegis drift floated silently above Elara 7. Captain Cal Draven stood near the main console, staring at the data pulled from the drone pod. Blue lines moved across the screen, waves of energy from the Veilform. They weren't random. They repeated in patterns. The crew watched in silence. "It's not just noise," said Sarenvire, pointing to the screen. "It's a code." Drex hollow nodded. "Some kind of memory imprint. I ran it through 3 filters. It's not just data. It's a language." Kale leaned forward. "Can we translate it?" "Partially," Drex replied. "But not with our systems. We need the source. The signal core on Elara 7. That's where it all connects." Kale made a decision. "We go back. One last time. We download everything we can." Torin Malik stood at the edge of the room. He looked tired. "You're risking all of us." "I know," Kale said. "But if we leave now, we let the Empire erase something that could change everything. I won't be part of that." Torin didn't argue this time. They docked at Elara 7 again. The station felt even colder now. The hum from before was stronger, like the station was alive. They moved fast, retracing their steps back to the lower levels. The signal core chamber glowed softly in the distance as they entered. The room had changed. Symbols now pulsed on the walls, faint, glowing lines that followed the shape of the chamber. The core itself spun slowly, hovering above the platform like it was weightless. Kale approached carefully. "Start the download," he told Drex. Drex connected a scanner to the core. At first, nothing happened. Then the lights in the room shifted. The core glowed brighter. Everyone froze. Then Kale heard it, a voice inside his mind. Not words. feelings, images. A vision formed in his head. A great empire in the stars, long before the current one. They were advanced, powerful, but they feared something. They feared their own creations. So they built the veil form, not as a weapon, but as a memory keeper, a messenger, a warning. The civilization fell. Silence followed, and the veil form waited for someone to listen. Kale stepped back, breathing heavily. I saw it, Saren whispered. They were like us, and they destroyed everything to stay in control. Kale turned to Drex. Do we have the full data? Almost, Drex said. But the signal is still active. It's linking with our systems. Let it, Kale said. We'll take the message and spread it. Suddenly, the station shook. A loud boom echoed through the walls. Toran's voice came through the comm. Captain, the Imperial destroyer just arrived in orbit. They've locked weapons. Kale looked at his team. We're done here. Pull the data. Let's move. Drex yanked the scanner out. The lights on the core dimmed, but the walls still glowed faintly. They ran back through the corridors, heartbeats pounding. The ship was ready at the dock. As they launched, a bright light filled the sky, a warning shot from the destroyer. Inside the Aegis drift, Kale stood at the main console. Get the data ready to broadcast. Toran looked shocked. To who? Kal's voice was calm. To everyone. Every open channel. Every corner of the galaxy. Saren smiled. Let the truth speak. Kale stared at the stars outside. The veil form hovered just ahead, now fully visible. It glowed like a living star, silent and still. It was time. The Aegis drift shook as another blast echoed behind them. The Imperial destroyer had fired again, this time closer. The crew strapped into their stations as the ship pulled away from Ilara 7 at full thrust. Captain Cal Draven kept his eyes on the glowing form outside the window. The veil form hovered in space, unmoving. Its light shimmered softly, pulsing with steady rhythm. It wasn't afraid. It wasn't running. Neither was Kale. Broadcast system ready, said Sarenvire. All channels open. Toran Malik stood at the console, hands shaking slightly. If we do this, there's no going back. We'll be fugitives, traitors. Kale looked at him. We'll be the ones who told the truth. He tapped the screen. The data they had pulled from the signal core loaded into the transmission buffer. Ancient images flickered across the console. Symbols, visions, soundless messages, a story lost to time. A warning left behind by a forgotten people. A memory the Empire wanted buried. Start the broadcast, Kale said. Saren pressed the key. A deep hum filled the room as the ship's antennas powered up. The signal launched into space, fast, wide, and open. Every civilian relay, every pirate frequency, every forgotten comm satellite would hear it. All of it. Kale exhaled. It's done. Outside, the veil form pulsed. Once, twice. Then it moved. Slowly, silently, it drifted between the Aegis drift and the approaching Imperial destroyer. For a moment, it hovered there, as if shielding them. Then it changed. Its light grew stronger, brighter, too bright to look at. The crew shielded their eyes. Suddenly, a wave of energy burst from the veil form. It wasn't an attack. It didn't cause damage. But it reached the destroyer and passed through it. Toran looked at the readings. Their systems are down. Drex Hollow nodded. All weapons offline. Shields collapsed. Same thing that happened to us when we got close. The destroyer began to drift. Kale stared in silence. The veil form had made its choice. It didn't fight. It didn't speak. It simply stopped the threat. And then it disappeared. One blink, and it was gone. No jump trail. No energy signature. Just gone. Like a ghost. For a while, no one spoke. Then Saren whispered. It was protecting the message. Kale nodded. And now, the galaxy knows. Torin turned to him. Quiet. What do we do now? Kale leaned back in his chair. We run. We hide. We watch. And when the time comes, we remind people of what we found. He looked out at the stars. The Empire had power. But now, people had the truth. And truth doesn't stay buried forever.